Round one. Fight! Good evening, friends. It is Wednesday, February 23rd. Almost my brother and my mom's birthday. They have the same birthday, the 27th. You're looking at a man who's gotten very little sleep the last few days launching my book. Thank all of you that have backed Truth, Justice, and American Way. It is so much fun to work on. Tonight, we are talking about They Live, hence the awesome glasses that I'm wearing, and they're prescription sunglasses. That's the kind of things you do when you're a man and you have a mortgage and you're a responsible adult. You get prescription sunglasses. Here comes my friend wearing regular glasses and sunglasses on top of them. The unstoppable Shanth and Jetty. How you doing, buddy?
It's good to see you guys. It's great to be here for another. We haven't been doing anything, Gabe and I. We haven't been streaming. We haven't been working.
Nah.
We just been sitting back waiting for you guys. So tweet this out and make this happen. Let's make this stream huge.
Please, hit the like and share and all that. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about They Live. It's fantastic. Let's say hello to some people who are here. I'm going to try and read this with my sunglasses on. Leg Kick is here. Garth, I got to pull him up. Sorry. Ustveen is here. Will MS is here. Leg Kick 1 is here. Shanth and Jetty Art is here, obviously. Joe Wapner, no relation to Judge Wapner. He loves this movie. Mikra is here. Jared Weaver is here. Oh, he bought my first auction piece of Cecil on one of Ethan's auctions. Shadowhawk Bax is here, of course. Andrew Wilson. Stephen De La Vega. Hola, amigo. Cranberry Langer is here with the most delicious name. You know, after I had a show last Thursday with my daughter, Minnie, father-daughter dance. We're doing it again tomorrow, of course. And that name just kept making me thirsty. So I went out and bought Simply Watermelon Juice. And I drank half the bottle on the weekend. So there you go. That's how you get wild when you're 43 years old, by the way. You drink half a bottle of fruit juice and call it good. So,
that's right. That's the good life.
What are your top 3 fruit juices, Shanth?
Oh, my gosh. Let's see. Fruit juices. Boy, you're putting me on the spot here. Oh, I know. Mango is in there for sure.
Ooh.
throw out mango, and I'm going to throw out OJ, of course. Gotta love
Oh.
juice, man.
The juice is loose.
That's
Where were
right.
you when O.J. Simpson was flying down the 5 freeway or the 101 or whatever the hell it was?
I think I was in college, I think I was a freshman in college.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, Nordberg's on the run, because I grew up with Naked Gun, and I knew who O.J. Simpson was, but it was just such a bizarre thing because he went from his stellar college career, NFL career, and then he goes and becomes this kind of comic dopey sidekick in the Naked Gun films. So it was a rough segue with that in between.
Yes. There's also a shill for wasn't it like Avis Rent-A-Car or
Avis or I can't remember, Thrifty Avis. I think it was Avis.
Yeah.
Actually.
He was running through the airport to like catch his flight or something. Or I gotta pull these up. I'm sorry. Oh, here it is. Andrew Wilson.
That's right.
Let me throw this up right here. It popped up on the YouTube chat, but it hasn't popped up on the StreamYard chat. When it does, though, I'll add it. John Nada is our hero of this movie. We're going to get to this in just a second. I'm so excited to talk about this. So They Live. Do you want to describe it, or do you want me to describe it? Should we hold off just a second longer? I said we let a few more people come in.
No? Yeah, we'll hold off a few seconds and just to make sure we say hey to Jeremy Lord Crackhead 33. It's great to see you, and I know you already got shout out bags. Angela Curry, OC Steve, thanks for co-hosting with me on my channel. It was great. Kept saying
I'm going to meet up with OC Steve and some other West Coast is the best coast.
I love that.
CG West Side. We can meet at the Irvine Spectrum and go to Umami Burger.
Yeah, well, do you know that I'm a part of?
Do you have the Umami where you live?
No, but I'm actually a part of. I'm a part of Comicsgate East. I don't know if you guys know this, but Comicsgate East is all of Comicsgate that is to the east of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. So, we're a small contingent, kind of from, the edge of Massachusetts up to Maine. There's not a lot of us, but I consider New Jersey to be central Comicsgate, which creates problems for us. So, yeah.
We got to get our New Mexico contingent working, too.
That's right, man. Southwest, man. They're getting it done.
Oh, man. But no, it's delightful living here. Although we've had rain the last 24 hours. We don't have rain too often here, but we had some. We had one of our few rainy nights here in San Diego.
Yep.
But Umami Burger is what you think it is. It's a snooty place. They got it in Hollywood. They have it in Irvine, and it's kind of place with like a $15 hamburger and stuff like that. That doesn't even come with fries or a drink. You know what I mean?
You had me at burger.
Yes, it's quite.
I'm
good.
A simple man. It's like. When you ask me, what's your favorite kind of ribs? All I heard was ribs.
That's right. I said, is it pork or beef ribs? You're like,
exactly. And I'm kind of like, what do you got?
Oh, that's hilarious.
You're not holding out on me. Where are the ribs?
Oh, man. Okay. Comicsgate East has White Castle.
Ooh, yeah.
I ate at a White Castle, but I don't know if it's legit. It was the one at Fremont Street in the north end of Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Would that count? Will you allow that to count?
I'll allow it.
You'll allow it. Thank you. Very, very generous of you.
I'm feeling, listen, since I've put these glasses on and I started seeing everything.
Started seeing the truth. Lord Crackhead representing the East Coast. There's a reason why CG runs on East Coast time. Bow!
That's right. Because Jeremy's at work early in the morning and we need to, make sure he's here for the streams. But man, that guy's a trooper. I'll catch him in the streams at 2 and 3 in the morning with an early morning the next day, man. He's a machine.
Definitely. I love that Klaus Schwab. We all know who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
World Economic. I like that he has the courtesy to dress like a supervillain if he's going to act like one. He's got the leather vestment thing and the shaved head. And
yep. Yeah, he goes all in.
Yeah. Umami Burger is worth the cash. It is. It's very, very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's see. What else?
If you're buying,
White Castle fries only come in one size.
That's right. They do.
That size
Hail Beastie Boys.
Enough.
Rest in peace, Adam Yacht.
Oh, White Castle just okay. All right. Yeah. What was your go-to burger? Was it Five Guys? Were you the guy that loved Five Guys? Or
now I love Five Guys. My daughter is always asking my wife, like, if she's like, can we go shopping? And my wife's like, sure. Can we go where the Five Guys is? She wants to go get some Five Guys.
Okay.
But growing up, I was a Crystal Burger guy.
I've never had
those
that.
are just like, oh my gosh, man. It's like White Castle, but it's like There's like these wafer thin crystal burgers. The buns melt in your mouth, and the weight that you're going to put on from them and will give you a heart attack. But it's we just get like boxes of these tiny little crystal burgers, and we just put those things away. God, it was good.
I think we set a record, you and I, for time on stream before we started talking about food.
We can't.
What goes on? Every time we're on stream, we start talking about gravies,
blueberry hungry, pies. Man. Oh, I didn't say that. That was right. You said, what are my favorite kinds of juices? Gravy. Let's.
My favorite part, I love Thanksgiving dinner. My favorite part is the gravy, and then put it on stuffing. Stuffing I love, but stuffing really is just a vehicle. It's a gravy delivery system is what stuffing is.
It absolutely is. Yeah, Angela Curry, you're right. It is the Southern White Castle. That's right. That's how they do it.
Oh, that's what a crystal burger is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see this. Cowa Corner was a good burger joint. Never heard of it, but I always love a good burger. Five Guys is a better Wendy's without the Frosties. Controversy in the chat.
That's right.
Talking smack. Let's see.
Yeah,
pour gravy on everything, and I mean everything.
Darn right.
You gotta do this. You're being overly dramatic. I had a manager, and he was a Southerner when I was in college, and I worked at the Home Depot in Greeley, Colorado.
There you go.
And you talk to Mitch, and he didn't like something. He was like, "Are you serious about that?" Yep. I couldn't believe it. He was like out of a TV show or something, so that people would really do that. It was really
my TV
funny.
Show guy. I worked for one day in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at a downtown Chattanooga industrial chicken farm, and I was at a temp agency, and they put me in for light industrial work, and it was actually they needed people to come in because immigration was in town, and they were getting all their workers out of there, and I thought, wow, I could end up on a bus somewhere. They don't stop and take a look at me. But I was out there, and I was with this guy named Harley, and we were just moving, stuff and cleaning up trash. And there was a forklift that went across the quad, and all the machinery was so loud. Harley goes, "Now make sure your eyes are always open because the machinery is really loud. You got to stay on this path while the forklift is going." He goes, I said, "Oh yeah?" He goes, "Yeah, there was a guy here who didn't keep his eyes open." I was just like, "What?" Ooh. So I picked up this PVC pipe, and Harley was looking at me, and I picked it up, and it was a huge PVC pipe, and I just picked it up, and it sloshed one way. I caught it, sloshed another way, caught it, then sloshed back, and just poured down the back of my shirt. And I said, "Harley, what was that?" He goes, "Oh man, it's best not to think about it."
Oh. I have a temp job speaking about being unqualified and getting into some trouble. When I was like 18 or 19, I just applied at a temp agency so I could just make money. And they sent me to a warehouse, Morale Fire Supply. They'd make like fire sprinklers for buildings and all the plumbing that goes along with it. I get there early in the morning, and they have some sort of staffing problem, and they need me to use the forklift to unload a bunch of hot water heaters from a truck. Now, I don't know if you know, OSHA regulations say you have to be trained and certified to run a forklift. My training was a Mexican guy who didn't speak any English telling me alto and bajo, and I barely speak Spanish, like 20%. So I got a 15-minute lesson from a guy who didn't speak English. So I take the hot water heaters off the truck. I drive into the warehouse, and we're stacking them like 4 high. These damn things are already 5 feet tall. So I'm stacking, 100. They're not heavy because they're empty, and it's up there wiggling. It's like, and the forks are, 12 feet off the ground. I'm putting them up there, and I'm so nervous. I put this one up there, and all the hot water heaters are shaking. And then it stops, and I'm so excited. I'm like, yes. I throw the forklift in reverse, turn around, and drive out the door of the warehouse to go get more, and I never put the forks down. And the forks go right through the
right
building.
into the
and the sign from Morale Plumbing Supply just like falls off the front of the building. They sent me home, and I had to get a drug test, which I passed.
That's right. Yeah. Oof. But I'll tell you this, man, I love that we talk burgers. I love that when we do get together, and we've been talking about this a lot lately, those meetups, right? Whether it's your meetup with OC Steve or one of the bigger ones we plan on doing, we're going to get some burgers. We're going to sit back, have a great time. It's going to be awesome.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, should we get to tonight's entertainment?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Oops, I hit remove instead of add to stream. Do you know why I stuttered when I was bringing you on, and you were trying to point in the camera, and I took too long? Because I was about to click you in, and when I looked down, my finger was over remove instead of add. So It's a
That's
free
how you
show,
gotta do it,
everyone.
man.
It's a free
That's
show.
right.
So They Live. John Nada is like this drifter from Colorado, and it takes place in Los Angeles, right?
Mhm.
Right. And he comes in there and he starts doing construction, and he comes across some people, or he comes across a pair of sunglasses that he finds in an alley that someone had thrown out. There's right? Is that where he finds them, or is that where he hides them?
Which one? The
Oh
glasses?
no, there's a
No,
church.
yeah. He goes
There's a-
into, yeah, that's big, man. You know, right?
That's
He goes
right. That's
into
right.
this
Okay, let me back up. So
because
he
there's a
kind of.
huge.
You go ahead. I'm fucking it up. You go ahead.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead, man.
Okay. So he starts working construction. He's like a drifter. He needs work, this and that. Something weird is going on. And it's sort of like a homeless encampment he's kind of staying at. And next door, there's a church, and he hears all this preaching and talking and stuff going on. So he goes there to check it out one day, and he finds out the preaching, there's no one preaching. There's just recordings and speakers. And he finds out there's just boxes of these sunglasses. And when he puts on the sunglasses or whatever, but he goes to downtown LA and he notices when he puts his sunglasses on, walking around downtown, everything is different. And he can now actually see. So when he puts them on, he can see people that they're actually these weird aliens. And that all the signs and everything you see, that would be like an American flag behind the president or whatever. Mm-hmm. When he has these glasses on, he can see that everyone is weird. And this story is actually based off of a comic book. It was like an 8-page comic book from like the 50s, like an old EC horror. There's something about so-and-so dies at midnight or something like that. But you'll see like that sign with the sunglasses off will be like, take a beautiful vacation in Hawaii. But when he puts the glasses on, it's like marry and reproduce. And then the money is like, it looks like money. But then when you put the glasses on, it's saying the money is your God and all that stuff. So it's pretty amazing. And when he first noticed it, he's at the newsstand. And he notices all the magazines have weird titles. And then he sees this guy buying a paper, and the guy scolds him. So these are like the evil alien elites, and they're the ones that are controlling everything and stuff like that. It's a fascinating, if a bit on the nose, commentary about society. So when was the first time you saw this, Shanth?
I saw this movie for the first time about 1.5 years ago. And so I didn't. Oh, you got muted there. Hang on. You think you tapped the mic. Hang on.
Am I muted?
Yeah, you're back now. Okay. Yeah, it's I saw it about 1.5 years ago, and I'm gonna tell you this right. This is the thing. It's one of those things that there's certain aspects of it that are timeless, and there's certain aspects of it that are on the nose. But I think also they're noticeable because there's slight, inconsistencies on what the message is trying to be about this. And that was one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, when I watched the movie. And I also liked the fact that when I was watching it, you had these great characters. You had these, you had Roddy Piper, you had, Keith David as your two leads. But what they were dealing with, and Keith David, I feel like, has been this in John Carpenter movies before. He's although more intense in The Thing, he's kind of like your skeptic. And what I like about these characters is these guys both work for a living. So they're not they're not like tinfoil hat, wearing conspiracy theorists. You know what I mean? It's like they work for a living. They're, living on the sort of edge of things. And then they see this stuff and they start to realize like how big, this thing goes. And they're kind of, what I like, Keith David's attitude, which is, I don't want to see this. And there's a aspect to him where he doesn't want to have to deal with it, Yeah. Yeah. The best fight scene.
Yeah, it does. So, so Keith David and then Roddy Piper, known as Nada in the story. I don't remember Keith David's character's name, but it doesn't matter. It's Keith David with the awesome decoys. They're working the construction sites and stuff together, kind of living as drifters. Henry Bemis said took place in modern times, that there was a depression going on and everybody was out of work. It's a trip. I didn't catch that. I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense if that's what part of the plot line was. Sure. But anyway, they're sort of friendly on the job site, Keith David and Roddy Piper. But after he gets the glasses, he's trying to show them to Keith David in this one scene in an alley downtown. And they have a fight scene that is worth watching this movie just for this scene alone. It's an 8-minute fight scene. And for those of you that don't know, you're a little younger, Roddy Piper was a WWF wrestler in the 80s, a real popular one. Yep. And he incorporates some of the moves there, like a suplex and stuff like that. And the fight scene is what, like 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, Sean?
Yep.
It's an amazing, fun, entertaining. They're just beating the crap out of each other. And the point of the fight scene is Roddy Piper's trying to force Keith David to put the glasses on so he can see what he's talking about. And he just does not want to do it. And I don't know. When I saw that, I was amazed. It was really fun.
It felt like an actual fight scene between two people who have fought but are not. Yeah, it's a brawl. Yeah, OC Steve, you're absolutely right. And I it has those great moments where two guys who aren't going to quit and they're exhausted in the middle of the day. This is the, they skipped cardio. You know what I mean? They went to the gym, but they didn't go for the walks.
Right.
And I thought it was amazing. And it's such a fun movie. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the message couldn't be, I don't want to be overly dramatic here, but it couldn't be more apt to our times. But I wonder this, I'm 43. This is the first time I've been 43. And I do wonder this about life. Are things as bad as we think? Or is this just how it looks to everyone at my age? Do you know what I mean? And there's no way to know unless you lived multiple lives and then you could remember your other life and compare it. Like, oh, it's the end of the world and all this bad stuff is what people say. I don't believe that. But I wonder in context, how different is it right now than it was in the 60s or the 70s? I guess if you were old, like 80 years old, you could then compare the two times. But I do wonder, since I'm relatively young, is it what I think it is, or is this just my first time around the block as a real adult seeing this? So maybe it seems intense and it's not as intense as I think, or maybe it's worse and you just don't realize it. What do you think of that concept?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I mean, when I was talking with Dan Lawless, we both, he was in the chat the other night. We figured out that we were in outside of Detroit, Michigan in the 80s. And that was during the auto collapse. And that was during a lot of that stuff going on. And what I always say is these swings of social breakdowns, and Razor Fist does a really good job of talking about this, they happen in predictable swings. So I think if you're in your 40s and you're in your 40s during the last 2 decades, I imagine it felt a lot different than it feels right now. I mean, there are things that we would not have even at every arc. There are things that you can't fathom. Some are random events or events that are I'm not random, but sudden tragic events like Kennedy assassination or things like that. Other things are just total breakdowns in trust of what is it that your friend gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
What's he do?
Oh my gosh, everything. What does he not do? Musician, soon to be comic publisher.
I don't know.
Guys, Young Rippa. Thank you. Young Rippa.
Okay. Eric July.
Eric July. Perceived legitimacy. And that's the breakdown of perceived legitimacy is a very big, phenomenon that happens from time to time. And right now, I think he's dead on. We're in a period of perceived legitimacy is coming apart. People will tell you one thing 1 minute and then change it and think that you have the memory span of absolutely no time, and that's what's Rippaverse. Someone's saying in the chat. Yeah, it's guys. This is the thing about it. So the indie scenes are always born of these times, and I think that's what you're seeing. It's the kind of overabundance of kind of coercive talk and people expecting you to again obey and all of those kinds of things, and people sort of look around and they have to kind of think about, well, where am I going to put my trust? It's not going to be in these big institutions. It's going to be in people that I get to know. So it starts to be something that the whole idea of relationships gets a lot smaller, and that's what happens with Keith David. I mean, this guy's Roddy Piper is a drifter in this. Right. He meets Keith David. Keith David just wants to get the job done and not fool with this stuff, but they form this bond where they're like, something has to be done about this. Absolutely. This is messed up. And I think that's sort of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I think Keith David refers to that he has a wife and children or something, and not as more just like a drifter, right? Or is it the other way around? It's been about a year since I've seen it. I've seen it a couple times, but it's been a little bit since I've seen it. I don't remember the fine details like that. But the larger point stands. You know what I mean about trying to survive and get through that for Keith David there for sure.
And it was an interesting thing because in this movie, a lot of the signs, some of them are timeless. Things like "Do not question authority" is great. The one that has always made me laugh was and it hit me. It felt so dated, like of the paranoia against conservatism, which is really kind of funny to think about in hindsight. I would say the sign would say practically the opposite now. If you were to really do, like, it would show a Norman Rockwell family at the table, and then it would say the exact opposite of that. Because I think that's what, that's the stuff that feels almost quaint, like go on vacation.
Yeah, it is interesting how society, it pulsates and shifts around, and there's these different pressures. And right now we are in a very authoritarian sort of mindset from the mainstream. And a lot of the people that I hate to call people sheep or sheeple, but I mean, it is. You see it. You see people that they sound like somehow the radio frequencies from the cable news are just coming out of their mouth. It's like, do you think at all for yourself? It's insane. And I think people are too comfy. I think things are too easy because Western civilization has been so crazily successful for abundance. I think that people aren't challenged enough. There's not enough resistance to build strength, because the only way to build strength is resistance, right? So I think when we lived in this world of such abundance for decades, I think people have gotten mentally like fat and lazy. You know what I mean? So they the water's clean, the food is refrigerated, like, whatever. You're not very introspective when you're winning. You're very introspective when you're losing,
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would say about it that is so fascinating is that there's this fatigue that people who aren't stressed and people who are told that you can create a utopia and that you don't need to exercise your brain by thinking about things that are a little uncomfortable. Now, there's a difference between that and trying to be, constantly bombarding your brain with anxiety, because then it's exhausted and there's no benefit to it. But reading the classics, reading great literature, understanding how to effectively question things, how to not question everything, which is what deconstructionism is. It's kind of like, why is this way,
Well, and I think Karl Marx said in the Communist Manifesto, one of the points of communism is to criticize everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's why critical is...
But yeah, that's why in art school they focus most of their time on this idea of teaching you to critique. And what's interesting to me about the decisions in this movie, I think that you've got a director here and you've got a creator here who asks or puts out some stuff that may, in some cases, maybe a little unartfully ask interesting questions, and I think, things like, Stay Asleep, all of that stuff has aged really well because it's timeless. They live, we sleep. That's absolutely great.
Right.
And we do need a 6-demon bag.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot lately because the pandemic and the lockdowns and the government overreach, let's just call it what it is. All of that has really got me thinking, and about the divide and conquer. That's the oldest trick in the book for all of human society, thousands and thousands of years. And I think, why would they do that? Why are they so evil? Why this? And I thought, when you realize that the powers that be, whoever they are, the big behind the scenes, whoever actually controls the world, when you realize that they, not literally, but as literally as possible, see all of us, middle class and poor, as cattle. We're here to provide milk, we're here to provide meat, and we're here to die. That's what they would prefer. Everything they do makes sense when you look at it through that prism or that lens. You know what I mean? When you realize that they don't care, send their boys off to war to die for some nonsense war that isn't legitimate, because it's not their son, it's not their daughter. They don't care. Bomb that village, whatever. I don't live there. And raise prices. I don't care. I'm rich. It doesn't matter if prices go up. And when you realize that we're just cattle and we don't ever overcome these people because we're too busy fighting each other, because they use media and all that to tell me, oh, well, Shanth said that he loves pineapple on pizza. I'm like, what the fuck did Shanth say? What did he say? I'm going to get him. They get us to just totally be divided. And it's insane. And we look at each other instead of looking up at these elites who just laugh at us and tax the hell out of us and take our rights away. And I think the movie could not be more relevant to the time we're living.
This is the thing, though. This is the slang of different time periods that has to be understood. And this is the biggest supposition. Yeah, that is a great part. This is the biggest supposition of this kind of Marxist, postmodernist, whatever you want to call it, system of thought. It's the underlying thing. And the underlying thing is that we are not individuals, that human beings are all interchangeable. We're all the same. We have the same aptitudes, the same skills. We should have the same needs, and we should have the same wants, and everybody should fall in line. So when somebody thinks outside of that system, it is alarming to their idea that basically it's like this. If I see you and you have more money than I do, it's got to be, since we're both equally skilled and we both, are equally in terms of our hard work, I should have what you have. And if I don't, it's illogical by that belief system. Then there must be some conspiracy at work. And so what you start to see in this is it says conform. But I've noticed that there are certain slang periods or slang terms that come up every couple of years, which is basically a way of saying, conformity slang. And one of the ones that was really big before we got into this current phase we're in was same.
Right.
Same.
Right.
How are you doing? Same. I think this. Same. In the 80s, it was, I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Ditto.
Right.
Ditto. Copy paste. And when you have a copy paste attitude, which is like watch television, okay, buy, okay, but conform and obey is the biggest, and stay asleep are the real things. What's funny to me about this emphasis they had on reproduce is it makes some sense in terms of if we are cattle, but I would say it's the opposite of that tends to be the propaganda of the day as we're learning.
Don't have kids.
Yeah, don't have kids, don't get married. That's a trap. Hate, people who are the same sex as you, hate people who aren't the same race as you. Right. But at the same time, everybody has to conform. And the conformity is when one of us decides something is wrong. It's a little bit like body snatchers. One person points and they all turn around and they screech and they go after him. And what I like about this movie is Roddy Piper, Keith David, they could not be more outside of what you would see celebrated as nonconformists in these things. They don't have crazy haircuts. They don't have, leather jackets. They're two people who are, as you said, responsible for the production of things, who are working on, doing things at the the ground level, I should say, salt of the earth. And they're looking at this stuff. And when you see the I will say, quote, female lead in this, and there's something about her eyes, right?
Her eyes look weirdly fake. There's blue. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we got it here. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's terrifying.
It's scary. That color is called scary blue.
Yes. It is absolutely, that's a fella. Sometimes a fella will date a woman like that, but eventually he'll learn how to spot them, run for your life.
She's a handsome woman.
She is. Yeah, she is.
she's got the jawbone of a linebacker.
Yeah. And this is the thing. This is the biggest thing that was interesting to me about that movie. She is a part of the system. She's, you know what I'm saying? Like, she is not one of them, but she will defend the system. And and so is that guy that they meet when they go into the building, and he's showing,
That's right. Yeah. There was another guy like at the homeless transient camp. And in the story, they get a hold of these like teleportation wristwatches, and they end up in this big gala where the aliens are telling the humans that have been helping them conspire against the regular humans, here's your great reward, and we love you guys all, and we set you up and help you get to the top of everything. And one of the guys there at the big gala is one of their friends from the homeless camp. He's now working with the aliens behind the scenes. And their hypnotic stuff, so you can't see all these street signs, it's broadcast from a big satellite dish on top of a TV station in Los Angeles. And let me see, where did I have just all this stuff, all this invisible stuff that it's getting through to your subconscious, but you can't see it without the magical special glasses. All of that is being broadcast from this giant antenna of alien technology. So that's when they get to the gala, that's the same building, and they have to destroy the antenna at the end. So it's an awesome movie, and I think it's on Amazon for like $3 to rent. I bought the DVD for like $9 or $10 or something, so it's totally worth it.
Well, this is the thing, right? This is, guys, When I think about comics and I think about Comicsgate, I think about indie art movements and everything like that. You brought up EC Comics. You brought up those great short stories. I know you also own the Wallywood Artist Edition, which is a thing of beauty. I sent him out, folks. He's ready. He's like, I gotta go. I said the buzzword, right? Activate the asset. Gabe's
That's
like,
right.
I must get Wallywood. I see you in Morocco,
Wally.
like in the Bourne movie, on a scooter with that book on the back.
You activated me by saying it. Yes.
Can you make yourself larger on screen and show people a page or something of that? I'm sure some of them have seen it, but we're talking about works of artistic genius that we should all aspire to make. I mean, beautiful illustrations, classic stuff. And listen, I'm not trying to say, that these things can't still be done, because they are. Two-Fisted Manly Tales is an example of it. Graham Nolan's work is an example of it. Dare I say, Truth, Justice, American Way is an example of that classic illustrative. Look at the hand-lettered type design stuff in this, guys.
Look at that. It's amazing.
That makes me
life size
read
now.
comics.
For scale, you got to know I'm 6'4" for scale. This thing is a mammoth. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's very limited. I think they only made a few thousand of these. IDW does those amazing artist editions. I am addicted to them. I have a ton of them. So
me too. Love them. And it's, if you just say the opposite of that, you got something that would work in another time period, another philosophy. When you see these signs, the ones that say things like, and I've been thinking a lot about this. You look at books like 1984, but you also look at movies like books like 1984 and books like Atlas Shrugged. And the thing I think about is what was so brilliant about those works, although I do prefer Atlas Shrugged, is that the way they defined this stuff was so much more universal, but at the same time specific. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when people say don't question authority. I think there could also be one here is don't trust your neighbor. Like right. That's always been something through all of these movements, to distrust your neighbor. They're all out to get you. Could be another, like, how do you isolate people and get them to submit to authority? And that's where I think that those are the things that are ripe. God, that's a beautiful piece. That are ripe for fiction. Yep, Fahrenheit 451. You're absolutely right. There's another great book there, and I think that They Live and The Thing benefit from having really great source material, like underlying, some of those themes, and the degree to which they access that is what makes them interesting. But I'm just glad they're on celluloid. Right. It's great, or now on digital, and they're great flicks, absolutely great flicks. And we talk about this.
No, I don't know. I just really, this used to scare the crap out of me. One thing for those of you that are younger than didn't go to the video rental store. First of all, I feel sorry for you. That was a fun place to be on a Friday night, just wandering around, looking at video games and movies. And it was just this, like, it was like a museum almost, just looking like, oh, what's that? And what's this? And there'd be these movies. Tell me if this happened to you, Shanth. There'd be movies that you would never rent, but you would always pick them up, flip them over, read them. You love the box art or something, but for whatever reason, you would always rent something else, maybe for years. And this was a movie like that for me. I looked at They Live on the shelf so many times, but it scared me as a kid. I did not like that alien face at all. Yeah. And I never watched it as a kid. I only watched this movie for the first time like 2 or 3 years ago. It was recently. Yeah. Maybe it was less than that. I don't know. But did that happen to you? Movies you never picked up, but you always looked at?
The Thing. Yeah. That came across as like, so I saw the cover and I was like, well, that's, like the original, posters and things like that, which did not show too much. But then when I started seeing behind the scenes footage as a kid, I'd flick through the channels, I'd see that and I'd go, oh my gosh, and it's true. As I look at the chat, yes, we absolutely do miss Roddy. We do miss him. Yeah, gosh, there you go. I have a buddy who grew up in Dresden in the early 80s under communism, and neighbors absolutely did not speak to each other out of fear. Authorities would be called and they would disappear. Yeah. And that was, this is the thing about it, guys, is that, And I don't blame people for being suspicious and a little paranoid. You know what I mean? I really don't. It's in terms of when people are meeting people. I mean, particularly certain people in CG who have trusted people and been backstabbed. I'm not going to name any names and rub salt in the wound, wounds any further. But I understand why people are nervous about that. But here's the thing about it is that there's certain things for me that I've actually tried to change in the way I speak, which is anything where I say, like, I hear a lot of people saying phrases like, well, I think we're all in agreement here. And it's a very bizarre sort of thing that people do as a comfort thing. But I've noticed how many times we use sort of phrases that are that are anti-individual, like your own tastes, your own skill sets. We're not all capable of doing the exact same things, and thank God for that. You know what I mean? And we're not all here, in the same capacity. I watch boxing. I love boxing, but I'm not going to get in the ring and compete at the elite level. That doesn't, that's not, and it would be insane for me to think that would be something I'm capable of doing. And that's, I think, why we love those sports, because it doesn't get realer than that. And in They Live, you've got two equally matched guys who are fighting. And the question is, why do something about it? And I know that some people have put down the ending of this movie in terms of the salute that our dear Mr. Piper, the gentleman, gives before, things blow up.
Right.
And I actually like it because it really is the underlying reason. Like, that's the 80s. That's what it was about. It's like, why am I not going to do what you tell me? Because F you, that's why. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to because the idea that you think that, the idea that anyone thinks that they can make it so uncomfortable for people to disagree and to do something, not anti something, but to try to just go about their business and do something they're passionate about, is the ultimate sign of authoritarianism. The idea that once the second somebody starts bringing up any kind of supposition based on that everything should be the same, it always makes me feel a little bit, other than opportunity. I think that everybody should get a shot. You know what I mean? If they've got, what it takes to show if they've got what it takes. But the idea that when people say, why this person's getting this, why am I not getting this? I said that to my kids. That's why I was raising them. I was like, nah, don't get into that habit. Don't do that. It's like, appreciate people's differences. And I think that's what we do here. Of Henry Bemis. That's why. Great song by Smut Peddlers. There you have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's such a good movie. And it gave us, this is a more funny thing, the great quote.
The greatest line.
When he goes into the bank, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That's where that comes from. Now, I heard he ad-libbed that. Do you think that's true or what?
He did, yeah. He was, he would always, they would always give him some free reign, and he would use a lot of what he knew from wrestling, and he was really good with those kinds of one-liners.
Sure.
And if there's a genius to this film, and the genius to a lot of these films, it's allowing lines that no scriptwriter who was overthinking it would put in to a movie. And they're classics because of everything that's going on around them, and I think that's this kind of movie should give us tremendous hope and inspiration, because the fact that it has lasted down to, Shepard Fairey made a career out of ripping this off.
Right.
And with his Obey Giant, Nobey stuff. I mean, it's all straight out of this.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I just go, this is a movie that, someone had said it was originally about the Reagan era and, anti-corporatism and conservatism and all of that kind of stuff. But I do agree with one of the commenters saying, but it's transcended that in a lot lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I would say maybe it applied when Reagan was in office. I was a little kid. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what I've read and heard, but who really knows? I was just a kid. But
Yeah.
it's not about Republican or Democrat or, people sometimes get into semantics. They're like, you don't need, that's not socialism, that's communism, that's more, blah, blah. And they're like trying to diffuse something by like getting really specific. I'm like, just forget the labels. It's authoritarianism. It's oppression. Call it whatever the hell you want because of the specific details. That doesn't matter. It's the 40,000-foot view. This human is trying to oppress this human, and that isn't okay. And whether it be conservative or liberal or whatever, oppression, liberty must always reign. Liberty is holy. Liberty matters. And when you have people saying cancel culture and you can't say that word and you can't do this or go there or be friends with this person, you can't think that, or you can't pray to that God, or you know what I mean? It's like, no, you don't get to tell me what to do. That's not how it ever works.
Now you strike me.
For who? For why?
Yeah, you strike me as a person who's worked in comics. You strike me as a person who may have drawn a comic page or two and may have done some layouts. And so I'm sure you can imagine when you're setting up a camera on a movie set that there's probably nothing in the frame there that you don't at least consider whether it should be in there or not.
Everything is intentional. Everything in frame is intentional.
So take a look at this frame.
Right. Absolutely. The American flag is there intentionally. That's why I brought that one up.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's right. I mean, look at what he is a metaphor for. He's a man with a weapon, ready to do some damage, has his flag, and he has his magical glasses, science fiction glasses, where he can see the truth about the evils in the world, and he's going to do something about it. It's powerful. It's a silly, pulpy movie, but it's powerful, and it's so relevant. It quickly became one of my favorite movies when I saw it. It was like, this is actually woke. This is what it actually means to be awake, is to understand that we are cattle to these people, and we need to quit fighting each other.
What I love about pulp movies, and I love about things like this, is that these are the things we do where we can actually do important things while they're not looking, because they're afraid of this stuff. They're afraid that it's not intellectual enough, and so this is where we make most of our ground. Superheroes, horror, all that stuff. We get things done.
Absolutely. Oh, look at that. Demon Eyes. I worked on a movie with Roddy. He was a really good dude.
Hey, respect.
Yeah. Right. So I'm just checking the chat here. So many great people here.
There's so many great people here in the chat. Yeah, let's take a look and see.
Let's see. Oh, they're talking about a lot of wrestling promo and who could talk the most smack in wrestling. If we were pro wrestlers, Shanth, would you be a heel or a baby face? A heel or a face? What would you be? Not a baby face. A heel or a face?
Oh my God, I'd be a heel for sure. I would
have sort of Middle Eastern tag team, right? Even though you're not really Middle Eastern.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't matter. Hey, listen, if they're paying cash in the checks, I'll say that I'm Irish. Oh man, I will say this too. This is the thing about it. I love. I've always thought that those were the fun characters, that you saw people play. And, those are the characters that, you can look at it in terms of like what comic characters we gravitate towards and what things we like, and I love that stuff. Let's kick one. No one said Ultimate Warrior. Heartbreaking.
Oh.
But I love the idea of, having these two guys sort of put things together and looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm going to get out of town. Yeah, Shamrock Shanth. I love that. That would be my Irish wrestling name.
That is too good.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
no, that would be terrific. Hilarious. Yeah, man. I love, and I will tell you this, guys. I mean, we love these movies. We love watching these movies because, and I will tell you this, is that, and maybe we should start compiling, I'm sure you guys already are, but if someone wants to compile it and put it out on Twitter, there are the movies that we've been talking about on screen, particularly I think in the last couple of weeks, are great reminders of individuals getting together. Do you know why Keith David doesn't have to put those glasses on? Because he doesn't want to. It doesn't matter that Roddy Piper knows he's got to put those on. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want to, and you're not going to force him unless you beat him in hand-to-hand combat,
Right.
which is no easy task. But it just shows, like, you say to yourself, why wasn't he just put them on? Because he's precisely what this movie is trying to hold up as an ideal, that I won't be told what to do by force or coercion. And they gain respect from each other or for each other as a result of that process. And that's how guys, that's actually how you hash things out, as opposed to just go along. You know,
yeah,
the person who would have just put the glasses on wouldn't have assaulted that building, would they? They'd have just, they'd have been like, shit, okay, how do I get out of this?
Right. But after they go through their insane brawl in the alley, what you end up with is a little bit of this. Let me see if I threw it in here. You end up with Keith David coming over to that side. You know what I mean? And I don't know, that fight scene, oh my gosh, I think it's my favorite part of the movie. It's just so spectacular. There's a part, right? Okay, I found another image. Let me drag it over. There's a part where this fight scene is literally over 8 minutes long. And there's a part where Roddy Piper swings like a 2x4 at that car and breaks the window. And I always wonder, like, would that have hurt Keith David? Because that just shattered all the glass. And he laughs, like he breaks character for a second. He starts laughing right around when he breaks the window. And I always wonder, like, oh, this seems like it might have actually been dangerous, this fight scene.
Yeah, people don't, that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand. You know, like we talk, like I'm, as a boxing fan, there is no more hateful place on earth than a boxing message forum. Like, I mean, there's the stuff that happens in there, the way that, you know, people talk about fighters, if they lose one fight, if they're undefeated, like it is what it is. Right. But I just watched, recently I watched a fight between Amir Khan and Kell Brook, two UK fighters, you know, both who are older and certainly not in their prime per se. And they've had this beef going on forever. And after the fight, which was a one-sided beating, Amir Khan got beat all over the ring from pillar to post. They talked afterwards, embraced, said, hey, what's up? And that's what the public wants to see. Do you get what I mean? This is a movie version of that. But if boxers have a fight, and I understand sometimes people are concussed, like with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Deontay was clearly concussed. I mean, he was
concussed like in the middle of the 5th round and continued to fight.
And so I kind of like, he was still in fight mode, but afterwards you see Tyson Fury wish him a happy birthday and he concedes, you know, things. And that's what we want to see. Concession is not submission. That is the difference that people miss. Do you see what I mean? Two people can argue and work their stuff out and concede a point if it's good faith. And we are looking for people to back our books and have, you know, back our books, who are excited about our books, who create books with people who are doing this stuff in good faith and sharing, you know, their experiences in good faith. If somebody says to you, hey, listen, when I was reading the book, one thing I wish this character had done as opposed to this, I feel as though it's easy to tell when it's in good faith. Do you get what I mean? Like when someone's talking about it for the most part, and sometimes people take it wrong, but those two characters showed us that you don't have to be a lemming to go to war with somebody. You know, you don't have to be a lemming. And that's why I got really, it was one of my finer moments, but I got really rankled, dare I say. Trying to keep it clean on your stream, Gabe. Pray for me. Really working on this. No word of a lie, man. Seriously. But it's one of those things to where I got very frustrated because of something that someone had commented on, you know, a friend of my stream, Michael Bancroft, for those of you guys who don't know. And the thing that bothers me about this stuff is, and the thing that kind of frustrates me about this stuff is that these people do not understand. One of the accusations is that a particular person in Comicsgate of some note, because I'm tired of people always being named and over and putting them on the spot, who is very successful. They're saying, you guys are all a cult of personality around this particular person. And what Michael said that was so great was, and he pointed to is no, that's what you think. That's how you operate. Comicsgate is a lot of people with a common belief in making things happen, who have our glasses on. We see these signs, and we're saying to ourselves, we're going to do something about it, and it's not just going to be about having endless conversations with people who refuse to see the signs,
Right.
and don't want to change it, because there's plenty more people who do want to live a good life of creativity, art, and inspiration. And that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I don't
This
I don't
movie
want to wrestle
inspired me.
people. I don't want to wrestle people for 8 minutes in the alley to get the glasses on them. I'll just hand them. If they want to put them on, cool. If not, moving on. Moving on with my life. I wanted to show you this really quick. I love Las Vegas, as everybody knows. I do not gamble. I do not drink, but somehow I love Las Vegas. I just love it there. I think it's amazing.
The buffets, man. Go ahead.
Well, the restaurant. I don't go to buffets. Buffets actually kind of gross me out. But all the amazing restaurants and all the shows, and there's a gun range there that I love, an outdoor gun range. It's just amazing. But about a half hour out of town in Boulder City, Nevada, to the southwest, on your way to Lake Mead and the amazing Hoover Dam, there is Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. Tom Devlin did a bunch of special effects for like B movies and stuff, a ton of them. And this is in his museum. He has a whole museum you can walk through for like $10 or whatever. And I was there with my wife, I think 2 years ago. That's me with the creature from the Black Lagoon there. But he builds all these creatures by hand and paints them, and you walk through. And he had a big They Live display and all that. And he had the glasses. Yeah. There was more to it than that. But if you're ever in the area, in Vegas or anywhere near Lake Mead or anything like that, go to Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. It's amazing. He even offers classes where he'll help you sculpt a mask out of clay and then pour the latex and actually make your own. He does classes and everything. And he has a bunch of artifacts from movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I think Puppet Master and different B horror movies. He worked on a ton of those. And he also has his own haunted house next door that he built from scratch. It's pretty terrifying. So Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. And he has celebrity horror people out there too. I think Eddie Munster, the kid with the big, he was out there. And I follow him on Twitter or whatever, Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. And he'll say when he has people out there, I think Elvira went out there to sign autographs, and it's really cool though. So check out the Monster Museum if you're ever in the area. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this is the crazy thing about it. When you were talking about, and I don't know, listen, I think that we all have our moments where we're obviously where we're not far from perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect 100% of the time. But the thing is that it really takes, when we have conversations and we have discussions, the most important thing about it is that there's this kind of integrity, and there's not this need to bludgeon somebody so that everybody is going to think the same way. One of the things that has us walking sort of a razor's edge is sometimes, as artists and as creators, is the fact that, and as a country, is that we respect free speech, and some people are going to use that just by its very nature to try to say things that are anti-free speech. That's kind of the great, conundrum that we have. And yes, there are limits on that. But I think that, when I look at a movie like this, what I like about it is this idea that I heard someone once say that it made me annoyed. They referred to one of the two characters, or Keith David, because he comes in later, as sort of like in a sidekick role. And I went, did you watch the Brawl in the alley? He gave him a sidekick, right? I think, but I don't think it was that. And this is the thing about it, right? Is that when we do shows, or when we create artwork, when we do this, we've got enough going on as individuals in our lives that these are, according to Hoyle, collaborations. These are, according to Hoyle, us getting together to have a good time and talk about our work. And we actually root for each other to do our best work, and inspire each other. And that's kind of what was amazing about these guys. I think the most heartbreaking thing in this movie that just frustrated me a little bit, although I think it was to frustrate me, was Keith David's off-camera, and how it happened, which you were just like, yeah,
it's kind of BS how it happens.
But it wasn't going to get better on the roof. So anyway, you slice it. You know what I mean?
They're making their way to the roof to destroy the alien antenna that sends out all the brainwashing stuff. And as the kids say, he gets got.
Yeah, so he gets got by the young lady they're trying to, quote unquote, rescue. And of course,
good old Glass Eyes got him.
Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty terrifying end, but it's But you see this kind of stuff, and what is she against? She's against the idea of people having the right to see things as they are. It's an
Right.
elaborate cover-up operation, is what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah. She's one of the humans that's working with the aliens. So she has a
Mhm.
high position in society, like a really good job at the. Is she
Yeah.
with the television station or who's she with? I don't remember.
Yeah, she's
But
with the station. Yeah, I think
yeah.
so.
So the people that help the aliens control human society, they end up getting, to be president or getting to be the CEO or whatever like that. They reward the human beings by making them wealthy because they're actually controlling everyone. I'm going to
Sure.
shift gears for just a second here
Please.
because I don't want this comment to go away. C. Gallowglass asked me about Truth, Justice, American Way. The best comic of the decade will be coming out soon from me, David Williams, and Gary Martin. Let me throw this up here. This is it right here. Is this comic an ongoing series or a one-shot story? This is the first volume, the first story in a brand new comic book universe. What Dave and I want to do with Truth, Justice, and American Way is build our own comic book universe, the whole thing. So if Marvel and DC want to go woke and just destroy their stuff, I keep telling people we're going to pick up that football, pick up that fumble, and run a touchdown the other way. So yes, we want to do this. We want to do volume 2, volume 3. And in between, we want to hire people to do other stories. We have all kinds of other heroes and characters, every genre you can think of. It won't just be superhero stuff. We have monster ideas. We have just street level crime stuff. I mean, our justice guy he's a street level crime, Punisher, Charles Bronson, all that sort of thing. So is it a one-shot story? This story has a beginning, middle, and end for sure, but it goes on longer. So imagine it like Star Wars. You see the first Star Wars in 1977. It has an ending, but it's part of a larger story that picks up right where they left off. So these will be ongoing graphic novels as long as we make the sales and all that. So please support it. Tell everyone you know. Send out the links, and let's get the funding up on this thing so we can just keep making this forever. Because Dave and I, we don't want to take any other jobs. We want to just keep doing this for as long as possible. We have a million ideas, so we want to just keep going. So thank you for the question on that.
Can I make a request, Gabe? Am I allowed to use my position here on Double Impact to make a request for your comic book?
I will allow it.
You'll allow it. Okay, so here's one of my wishes here. If you can get, let me see if I can grab this book here without causing the biggest avalanche in the world.
Not doing a Shane Davis where he destroyed
listen, to me, a Shane Davis is dropping a toy and then getting to, it's going to happen, $250,000 crowdfunding. Hail Shane Davis. But this is the thing. If there is the artist who got me to walk into a comic shop for the first time and really changed my life, and it was this cover that got me to do it, to go to a comic shop and say,
hold on, let me make you big. Sorry.
And I was such a young kid, I didn't know how to describe art. I was a young kid. I said, do you have the Punisher comic with the cover that has the good graphics on it? That's actually because it was the video game era. And I said, it's got great graphics. And he's like, you're going to have to give me more than that. I go, it's got great graphics. But these comics, and I have the artist edition as well, were illustrated. The first couple issues, to be sure, were illustrated by, the great Mike Zeck. And I know Mike Barron wrote an intro in the first collected version of this. And when I think about it, if there is a way, I remember this one in particular, loving this one. If there is a way to get that's airbrushed. Yeah, I like airbrushed art. Sorry, folks. Apologies. But the big thing is, I love Mike Zeck, and I've been a lifelong, fan of what the Punisher was. And when I saw this character, when I saw Justice, I said to myself, if there's a way, and if it doesn't go against your vision, obviously, for this world, to get a Mike Zeck pinup of Justice at some point, hell, all 3 characters, for heaven's sake, I would love to see it, because Mike Zeck would rock that character, Justice.
I think he would. I don't
think
it's a bad idea. I think on this first edition, all the art is Dave Williams on this first volume.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But definitely, maybe we'll have a
stretch goal, 100K.
Maybe it's we'll have another book we could offer, the art of Truth, Justice, American Way, and we could get our friends that are great artists to do their take, and it's like a pinup book. What's wrong with those old pinup books, or those old Who's Who books, or the swimsuit books, any of those old books, I'm totally down for that. Whatever's fun, whatever entertains, whatever inspires. Look at this comment here. I took it down. I shouldn't have taken it down because I really loved it. Someone said to me, "Thank you for standing up for people that don't have a voice." Where is it? Oh, here it is.
It's up top. I saw it. Beautiful.
Let me make something very clear. I'm going to make myself big here for a minute.
Dude. Uh-oh. We lost him. And Henry Bemis, I just want to say you're right. Mike Zeck does rule. Thank you. There we go.
I'll make this very clear to you. I want to make a lot of money with this. I definitely do. I will never hide that. But I'm going to make a good product and earn every dollar from you guys. That being said, when you say you just want to say thank you, to stick to your convictions and speaking up for us whom have no voice, it's my honor, my pleasure. When I do this right here, hold on, let me show you. When I do this right here, artist quits DC Comics over Superman ditching American Way motto. It's a bunch of fucking nonsense. That's a quote by me. You see my face right there? Hold on, let me. You see it? That little picture of me on there on the article. And there's another one right here. When I can do this for you guys, I stand on principle. A lot of people that talk. It's not how I was raised. You know, what do they say? Don't talk about it, be about it. So it's my honor to do this. I do need a better quote. I don't want that on my headstone. Tired of this shit. Someone made a hilarious joke. I was on I was on Literature Devil's YouTube channel this afternoon.
Yeah.
I've been on YouTube all week, guys. That's why I feel like I need to drink. Really, I've done like 20 hours in the last 2 days. But someone, I said, I don't want that on my headstone. And then someone made a meme of me and it said, "Here lies Gabe. He got tired of this shit."
Oh, man, we've got some of the best memes in the world.
Right. Well, I mean, this YouTube wouldn't be fun. CG wouldn't be really nearly as fun without the chat. The people are brilliant and funny. And I don't know. It's just really amazing. At the top of the chat, guys, there's a link to back Truth, Justice, and American Way. You're getting a book better than anything Marvel or DC's putting out. I worked in the mainstream as an artist for like 20 years. The penciler, David Williams, he was here earlier, 30-something years. He's so good, he got hired by DC when he was 17. He's in his 50s now. Gary Martin has been an inker for 40-something years. I've never missed a deadline, okay? This is going to be of the highest quality, action, adventure. It's going to feel like They Live. It's going to feel like Star Wars. It's going to feel like Ghostbusters because that's how we're writing. We're not writing like SJWs. We're not going to say the left wing and feminists are idiots. We're not going to do what they do. We're going to lift you up. We're going to inspire you. We're going to entertain you, thrill you. We're going to make you cry. We're going to make you laugh. We're going to make you. And one thing I really want this book to do, that comment, I just took it down, is I want to inspire people. I want someone to say, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to whatever. I'm not going to quit my job. I'm not going to commit suicide. I'm not going to I'm being serious. I want this book to change lives. I want my example of sacrificing my career to help save this American Western canon, this culture. I want that to show people you don't have to be afraid. We can do it. This is how we win, not by screaming about them, about what we hate, but we talk about what we love. I'm going to keep I've been repeating that for weeks now. That's how we do. We talk about what we love, and then we make it to the highest degree possible skill, and we show everyone why this is better. And we don't defeat the woke. We convert them. They join us. They start reading our stuff, buying our stuff, and making it because they realize their way doesn't work. It makes bad art. So please support the book. Buy the book now if you can. If you can't, send the link out from my book to someone that you think might like it. But if you could buy it, I would love that so much. I really would.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, guys, you're there for anybody who's wondering, and it's so true. Voting with your wallets is big. It really is. And so you guys have a voice in what you choose to back. You know, I dropped and listen, everybody make their own decisions. Again, we don't need to have an 8-minute alley fight, but the principle is sound. And it is this: I canceled Disney Plus because I did not like where they were going.
I got rid of Netflix.
I will take my money where I want to go and what I want to be about. And so when I backed the 3-cover tier on Gabe's book, and because I wanted to back this book, and I also wanted to push it past 10K back in those early days, about $14,000 ago. Thank you very much.
Right.
And I will tell you this, is that I think that imagination and talent matters. And when I back a Comicsgate book, the thing that makes me excited, and when you guys are kind enough to back my book in CG It
Right.
matters because what it says to people is, look at what how many backers do you have? Let's go to the backer count. That's the thing I want to
We're
point
at
out.
371. When I woke up, it was like I think I've gained about 30 or 42. We've had a very good day.
Yeah,
You know,
so you've got 371 backers. This is a country of what, 350 million, give or take, maybe
something
380.
like
I don't know.
that.
And so I want to just point this out. Like there's very potentially 1 million people for every one of those backers in this country. Now, some of them aren't going to read comics, some of them aren't going to do this, blah, blah. But the impact you have on an individual group of creators' lives, if we get that number to 1,000, the impact it's going to have on this project and the ability to do future projects is beyond anything that they seem to be able to do with millions of customers. And we will get there if we keep working. It's one backer at a time. That's all it is. One backer at a time, one page at a time, one panel at a time, one cover at a time, one pinup at a time. That's how we're getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are not entitled to a penny from you guys. We earn every single,
Gotta earn
every
it.
cent
We
we
do.
want to. I know out here in San Diego, my son told me on the news, they said San Diego is now the most expensive city in America to live because our gasoline is like $5 a gallon, and it just already was expensive to live here. So I understand when you put $35 down, or 65 or 100 or whatever you might spend on my campaign. I understand that's real money and things might be tight for you. So believe me, I'm going to bring it. You're going to have the best thing possible. It's going to be on time for sure. Again, I've never missed a deadline. That's just unacceptable to me. I don't do things like that. It's ridiculous, And we're allowed to make women beautiful and sexy again, just like in Shanth's book.
You know what's so funny is, guys, I have days, and thank God for YouTube, and thank God for the people here in Comicsgate. I need entertainment to inspire me from time to time. I need walks. I need to go for a walk with my wife and talk about, our history and how we've been together for all this time. And, before I came on this stream, and this is the stuff that, and it's funny because I saw Gabe and his wife and I said hello to her. Well, they're on the stream. I should have said it was great to meet her, but I feel like I know her already. So it's pretty crazy. But my wife said to me, she goes, and she's talking about Comicsgate. She's talking about what we're doing here. She said, honey, I just want you to know I'm so proud of you. And that's the stuff that inspires us. That's the stuff that we've got people who believe in Comicsgate, who believe in making this work, who believe in sticking our necks out. And the more of us who do it, the more targets there are for these people, the easier it is on each one of us. But you've got to step into the fray. And when you back a Comicsgate book, every time you back a book, you are giving us more ability to be resilient and more ability to handle this. Listen to my brother Gabe here. His voice is shot. He has been streaming constantly since this book launched, and we don't stop working. Yeah, I did a stream with Eric Weathers.
Yeah.
Then go check out Eric Weathers' channel. I got a little heated on that stream. If you want to see me lose it a little bit, just have someone take a shot at one of my brothers and watch me lose it. But this is the thing. Then I went on. Gabe was kind enough to invite me onto his drawing stream, and we drew together. And then I did a stream on my channel after that because if you guys don't watch these shows, that is fine. But if there's nothing, that we're cool with that. But if there's nothing to watch because none of us are streaming, that's a bigger problem. So we try to give you guys that constant inspiration.
Yeah. I don't know. Very well said, my man. I was very touched by this right here. Look at this. Look at how great CG is. Look at this.
Yeah.
C. Gallerglass in touch with 2 local comic shops, trying to get them to support your retailer work. Yeah, guys, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes here. I'm answering emails like customer service. There was an older gentleman today emailed me, I want to buy this for my grandkids, but I don't really know how to use the internet. I signed up on your mailing list. How do I buy it? And I walked him through it, sent him the link. I told him there's 3 covers. And then I explicitly told him it's the same story, just 3 different covers. I didn't want him to buy all 3 and it's all the same. So, because I knew when he said he didn't really understand, but he was inspired. He saw me on Grant Stinchfield's conservative TV show when I was pitching CG and pitching my book up there and talking about how they ruined Superman. So I was glad he saw me there. So I want to reach as many people as I can and let people know that I'm standing up. And the night that I went on Eat Thins and I had the big fight with DC the next day and arguing with the bosses at DC and the lawyers were going back and forth. It was getting ugly. Like, you're not going to finish the contract. It's like, yes, I am. And then, they ended up paying me anyway. I didn't have to do the work. It was hilarious. But I wrote this email and I showed it to my wife. And I said, what do you think? And she looked at me. I got to take my glasses off for this. She said, I said, what do you think of this letter I wrote? And she said, aren't you scared? Like, how can you talk to people that way? And I looked at her and I said, do I look scared to you? So do you think these people intimidate me? It's like my grandfather fought in World War II. My dad stood up against Gaddafi and watched his friends get murdered. And I can't stand up to some feminist editor in Hollywood with blue hair.
Yep.
What kind of man would I be if I'm the latest man in this line and I chicken out for some soy boy editor in Hollywood? No, hell no. I have it easy compared to my dad and my grandfather. So that's how it was to me. So if I'm not scared to stand up to this, if I'm not scared to ditch a career that was steady and easy, good money, to fight for what's right, so I can live with integrity, so I can look in the mirror and say, I'm not contributing to the destruction of American myths and legends, then you can do anything too, guys. Always follow the law, but stand up, damn it. We need to all stand up. That's enough of this crap.
Yeah, and I think there's something really I mean, it's almost difficult to talk about, what it is of when you've been alone being frustrated by this stuff. You don't want to be around people who are resentful, people who are negative, and you're around people who are either hopeless or certain about idiotic things. And you finally find a group of people who are creative, who believe in liberty, who believe in art, who believe in creativity, believe in having a good time. It is so much easier to be standing alongside people with a similar reverence and respect for these things that we care about than it is to ever be doing this stuff alone. And every one of us who backs a book, every one of us who gets out there and produces a book of any quality that people get behind and back, that is just more support for what we're doing here. And I can't overstate the importance of backers when they do that. It's a big thing to do. And I don't want anybody to ever think that if you're back, I've had someone said to me one time, oh, I backed Nosfero at at just the book level. I'm sorry, that's all I could do. And I'm like, that is a lot.
Right.
That is a lot. That is, and thank you. That's how we're going to get this. It's seriously yard by yard. It is not about, we're playing the long game. We're trying to work hard, and we're trying to get this stuff out there. And I will tell you this, guys, for me, I think that the best is yet to come, but 2022 is going to be our biggest year.
It is. It is for sure.
It's going to be our biggest year.
I want to answer this question because it's a specific question. You know nothing, John Snowden. How long is planned campaign for? The 30 days, and then I'll probably do another 30. And if demand is there, I'll go in demand afterwards. So don't worry. I want as many people to get this in their hands as possible. And when you guys see some of the things I have planned for advertising this book and doing it that are about to come, some of the conversations I had today, it's going to be wild for Comicsgate. So if you pray for me that all goes well, the marketing stuff and the conversations. I won't give the details because I don't want to sell things that haven't been confirmed yet. But I've got some great stuff cooking that I've been working on. God sent some people my way that are really amazing. So
absolutely.
I got to take off these glasses to read this chat. Sorry, guys.
Can I say another request that I want you to see if you can get to the fellas? I don't want to put it out there in the green room, but I do need Kevin, and is it Kevin Grievix? Is that how I pronounce his last name?
Yeah, it's Grievix is what he goes by.
Oh,
yeah.
Grievix. And I want him and Graham to make sure they're in top form and do an alternate cover that's a photograph of them doing the Predator hand clasp. The two most, jacked guys, on that book. It's got to be done, man. It's got to be done.
Right, absolutely. Luna Comics says,
yes.
Sorry for being religious. No, I reject your apology. Never be sorry. No, Don't be sorry for your religion. Whatever your beliefs are, that's sacred to you. Be religious, please. But you inspire me to stand up for my beliefs, which is coming from Christian values. I was recently converted back when my mom told me God is love itself. Well, I say this about God. Get on your knees and pray and seek his face and you'll find him. That's how I look at it. He's there.
let me say this too. Is I remember I used to hear this, and I never really understood what it meant, but I think it was Joseph Campbell who said that when you put yourself on the right path, whatever that path is, and you know, as Sam Jackson would say in Pulp Fiction, the path of the righteous man, you will get this sense of being helped by hidden hands that's almost alarming. So here's one for you. I was on a stream last night. If you haven't seen that on my channel, and Dan Lawless was in the chat, and I mentioned that I grew up in the outskirts of Detroit. He asked me where. I told him, because I remembered it, my street address. I haven't lived there since I was in second grade, but I memorized that. And he said, "Oh my God, I lived there
in that house."
And I said, "You did not at that house, lived in that neighborhood." He goes, "And I used to deliver newspapers to that house."
Wow.
So there was a time when a fellow Conan fan, an outstanding artist, and a member of Comicsgate, which, while we are a decent-sized group, we're not enormous. We're actually in the same block outside of Detroit. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I lived off of Mac Ave," and my brain instantly flashed to, "Oh, you kids can go for a walk up to the convenience store, but don't cross Mac Ave." Like, all of these memories like came back, and I said, "This is incredible. This is like, it's incredible how this stuff." Andy Smith illustrating the cover for my first pro job, and then cut to a couple of years later, I'm helping him get his audio set up for streaming. And we're just sitting here, and he's sending me and I tell you this, he's such a mensch, man. Andy Smith, when I helped him with his audio setup, he's like, "Give me your address. I'm sending you some comics." And he of course, because Andy's a machine, he dropped those comics in the mail, and I had them beautifully packaged and sent to me. That's what this is about, man.
Right.
This is the coolest place in the world to be, guys. And you guys are part of why it is so cool.
Well,
Thank you.
If you want to be on the bleeding edge of creativity, it's usually the counterculture that does it. And we find ourselves in this strange time where it's rebellious to get married and have a family. Like, if you want to be edgy and you want to be punk rock, I mean, look at Johnny Rotten, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, like the original punk rock band. He's for Brexit. You understand? Like, the globalist stuff, that's the conformity. That's this right here. Hold on. Let me That's what the left woke culture is now. The left used to be the rebels, and now we've gone in a giant circle, and now their conformity, the establishment, the media, the government, the giant corporations, now they're all on that side. And it feels funny and weird to say, but it's punk rock to be conservative now. That's like, I didn't think that would happen ever.
You want to know what another punk rock thing is? Is to actually know how to figure draw perspective, and use color theory. That's become competency, has become punk rock. Incompetency has become conformity. And that's something I've got to wrap my mind around, but I don't think there's enough Robitussin, Krispy Kremes, or Crystal Burgers to get me in that mindset.
Right. I love this comment about being punk rock. Impregnate your wife. F the haters.
Haters, exactly. That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Man. You know?
Yeah.
It's we make absolutely breathtaking products. We put things together, and we get amazing results out of this stuff because we know what we're doing. And I'm sitting on like just boxes of all of my Comicsgate books right now that I flipped through, and this. Oh, thanks for calling it up, man. And it's and this is where I put my time in, guys. Making this is going to be my third Indiegogo book, but my first comic book that I've done on Indiegogo. Outside of the indie books I did, like Flash Gordon, a Flash Gordon 75th anniversary story I did with Len Wein, and let's see what else. Elwood, some Starship Trooper issues that I did. And this is the thing, and they're all, guys, I was not painting back then, and my artwork looks nothing like it used to. But when you see the stuff I'm doing right now, which is for Zeta, that is Conan, that is, Lovecraft, that is, Rick Baker special effects. That's what it's about.
Panel 1 right there. That pillar is from the princess painting of Frazetta, right?
Yeah. The one
what it's also from?
Against
the pillar?
Well, actually, I've got one that's closer to that. Let me tell you what that's from, and you're gonna love this, Gabe, because I know we have this in common. That is inspired by the staircase that the Wicked Queen runs down in Snow White.
Oh.
The watercolor background of that, crossed with the Frazetta stuff, which happens probably more on panel 2 there. But if you go down to the piece, and it is censored, it does have a little circle over it, that is me going full Frazetta. It's let's see, right about, is it further down? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, it's covered. Yeah, it's censored. This is me going full Frazetta, guys. You know, I mean, that's what it's about.
Oh,
thank you, David.
Look at this. One of the best artists I know complimenting you down here. Hold on.
He's the man.
You know what I would love to see, Shanth, someday? A painting of Truth, Justice, American Way by you. I would love to see it.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
you know it'll happen. Feel inspired.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, because I will tell you this. What was the stream you were on where you lost your cool? Okay, so that was on CG Team on Eric Weathers' channel, and yeah,
that was last night.
Yeah, that was a moment.
Eric Weathers.
Yeah. I see. Here's the problem, guys. Let's talk. I did not know. Eric Weathers asked me if I want to be on the stream, before the show, because some team members were down, and he was like, can you come in? Can you sub in? I did not know what the topic was. And as I learned what the topic was, I got more and more angry, because that somebody, OC Steve, was there. He put it up on Twitter. But it's like, yeah, Eric Weathers at the 40-minute mark is where Shanth loses his mind for a minute. Yeah.
So there you go, Dave. Eric Weathers at the 40-minute mark.
It's one of those things to where I think that people do not. I get frustrated where that if people want to know what is the most insidious thing about some of the stuff that goes on these days, is that they say to people they convince people that they're in a system that benefits them better than the one that's outside of their door, and they convince you to run in the opposite direction of where your success will be. And putting those glasses on and seeing that the danger sign is actually an exit door to safety, quote unquote, or I should say liberty. Forget safety. Liberty is the biggest thing that you can experience. And so this artwork that I'm working on, and there are many, many more pages here. Let me see which ones I want to grab out here. But this book, when I'm chipping away on it and working on things like this double page spread, which I really enjoyed making, but things like this, where I'm putting together, and I've got werewolves, and I've got his lab, and I've got these tombstones that are, let me see if I can move the right direction. These tombstones that are right out of the outside of the Haunted Mansion in Disney World. I have been known to do the occasional female figure in my stuff. And this great big dog, for those of you guys who like cane corsos and that kind of dog that can travel through the ether to bring Nosfero from place to place. I mean, this is the stuff that I live for, and this is why I draw comics. This is how I imagine. And I've also been known to like me some werewolves. And so this is the stuff that we're doing here, guys. This is the artwork, and it's just on 300-pound watercolor paper. That's how we get it done. We're having fun, guys. We're getting it done.
Well, where were we? Where are we? Okay, so Nosfero's doing good. Truth, Justice, American Way is doing excellent.
Gangbusters.
Yeah, I think we dissected this movie, and I think that might be a show. What do you think? You got anything else
I think it's a show. And I got to tell you guys, I am really excited for Truth, Justice, American Way. It is so great to see, don't you just it's exhausting at first because there's so much passion in what we're doing, and passion can be exhausting. It can really be exhausting when you are, it's why, they say to fighters too, you know what I mean? It's like, don't get yourself so amped up that you don't have anything in the ring. And I think that we are in that zone to where we get so excited about these launches. There's stages of going, okay, well, we at least made it to this point. Now there's got to be another push. There's another push, and
Right.
it's kind of relentless. And we thank you guys for being here with
Yeah.
us today and backing the books and being having our backs. That's what it's
Yeah.
about.
Absolutely. So I'm going to sign off here in a second, but I want to get a little serious and just give a heartfelt thanks to any of you in the chat that have backed my book. I'm paying the mortgage on this house. I got a wife. I got my 2 kids. And I walked away from it, guys, because I believe with conviction what I'm doing here. I could not spit in the face of my dad and my grandpa and my family like that and just ruin this culture that our family came to this country so we could prosper. I'm not going to be the one in the chain that breaks it. They're not putting that on me. Maybe someone down the line, God forbid, but it isn't going to be me. They're not putting that shit on me. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
My promise to you is if you buy my book, it's going to be the best comic you've ever read. I know what I'm doing. Dave knows what he's doing. Gary knows. And we are passionate about this. And if you buy Shanth's, it's going to be another one of the best comics you've ever read. Because I know this guy now. I've known him for a few months now. And he is killing it. And he means it. He walked away. 18 years, college professor. He could have just stayed there and been cozy.
Full-time job, benefits, all that stuff.
Prestigious colleges he's teaching at. And he said, no, I'm not teaching racism. I'm not teaching nonsense critical race. So the 2 of us, we did the same thing. We stood on principle. So I want you to back our books, please. And if you can't, spread the word. So I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome.
Good night and God bless you guys.
Yeah. Have a great night. Okay. Adios.
Care, guys. See you soon.
Bye.